Hi everyone. So in today's video, we will have a look on these return type functions. It's functions that are not void or functions that return some values or that return something. Okay. So up to now we have seen about the void functions. I only gave you a simple one example about the blink, and I also asked you to work on the examples like serial println and analog output, right, fading. So I asked you to write them inside the functions and call it as a function because I just want you to, because if I asked you to do an analog business, okay, analog digital fading using analog out right, you are fading an LED, right? So if I ask you to do so, what you do is you write whatever you want inside the void setup. Maybe that pin mode is output, and also you write void loop, okay, void loop, and also you say, okay, you write the content whatever it is, like analog write or whatever, right? Analog write, and maybe you have a delay, and maybe you have a for loop, right? You have for loop here. Okay, I'm just writing things. Okay, so what I asked you to do is take everything from here, okay, and have everything inside another function. Okay, you may have another function called void fade. Okay, guys, I'm just recovering from the last session, right? And you may have all the content here, and simply you call this void fade. So it's same as having all the contents inside the void setup, void loop. So okay, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It should be like this. Okay, how to call the function, you know it, right? Fade. So this is what I wanted to do, right? So you know this code already, because you have done the fading, you have done the serial println, and you have done so many things, but everything inside the void loop you directly wrote. So now what I asked you to do is take them inside a function and call the function. So that's the only difference. So what you are supposed to do is take the content out, okay, from the void loop, right? Then put it inside the function. Put inside a function. Okay, and then call the function inside the void loop. So that's all you did, right? Because this for loop and analog write coding, that is related to the fade. So in the Arduino examples you can see the fade coding, or otherwise you can simply check out my previous videos. I don't know the number of the video, so check out that. It must be somewhere in the analog write business. Check out the video, and there we have written the code inside the void loop. So take the code out, create a new function, write the code inside the function, okay, and simply call the function here. Understood? So it is just a recap of the previous video. So what we will do is we will today we will simply study about the return type functions. That means functions that are returning some values. Okay, so you already know how to write a function definition. It's very simple. I mean, how to define a function or how to implement a function. So return type, name, okay, are good, and the function implementation. So no, yes, the same thing. So when it comes to the void functions, that means when your mom is saying you to sweep, clean the room, right? So you are not returning anything to her. So void function. So we write void because this return type is void. Void means what? Nothing. Okay, it's nothing. There's something. So we write void for the return type. Okay, and you give a name. Or let's say let's go for your mother example. Let's say clean the room. Okay, so then you take it here and you do whatever the content you're supposed to do, you have right. Okay, content. Okay, so let's try return type function. So let's say you are going to go to the shop and buy vegetables, right? So when you buy the vegetable, what is the return type to your mom? Vegetables, right? Because I already explained this scenario. So the return type will be vegetable or vegetables. Let's see. Okay, so we will write vegetable, that's enough. And the function is buy, okay, vegetables. Let's go for buy vegetables. Okay, and then okay, because we have written the return type and the function name, right? And then there should be the content. What is the content? Going to shop, Okay, talk to that whoever the shop owner. I'm getting messages. Talk to the shop owner. Okay, and then pay the money, buy the vegetables, those things. And then since there is a return type, okay, vegetables, you have to write a keyword called, because return type is not void, right? Return as a type, the type is called vegetables. Void mean nothing. Okay, so this in this case return as a type, so we have to return something. Okay, because in the void method we don't have to return anything, because return type is void, return type is nothing, so we don't have to do anything with that. But here, since there is a return type, this function should return something. So how can the function should return is, you have to say everything is done, please return the vegetables to your mom. So that means you came from the shop, you meet your mom and give the vegetables. So that word you have to say. So we have a keyword called return. Okay, so this keyword is used to mention what you are going to return. Okay, so you may say return, let's say you bought potatoes, say potatoes. So potato is a vegetable, right? Since you bought potatoes, you're saying return potatoes. Okay, let's say you can write return vegetables also. Just don't worry about that. Just try to understand the structure. So this, you have learned a new thing that's called return statement. So the rule is, okay, the rule is a return type function, okay, a function that is not a void function. That means a function with a valid return type should have return statement. Okay, that means it should return something, right? You should say what you are going to return. Okay, you understand that with your clean the room vegetables business? It's very clear, right? So now we will take a real-time example. So if you don't clear, just hold the video and write it down somewhere, right? We will take a real-time example. So I will delete these things. Okay, so yeah, you know the void function, so I'm not going to write anything much. Void, let's say blink LED, and you know what should be written within this, because I already told you, right? Because a blink piece of code, digital write LED 13 high, delay 10,000 milliseconds, digital write LED 13 low, delay 1000 milliseconds would be enough. Okay, so now you are going to write a return type function. Okay, so the problem is in the Arduino or programming, we are not returning vegetables. Okay, we are returning data, right? So we are returning a data type, because here we are saying return type. Okay, so what you return, the type of the return thing you have to say. So if you are returning a number, what is the type of the number? It can be integer or float or something like that, right? The data type of the number. Okay, so like that. So I will tell you, let's say we write a function that can return a number. Okay, let's say a function that will add just say number 5 and 10 and return the results. What is that? 15. So it is going to return 50, but it will add them and return it as a variable. Okay, so what is 15? 15 is an integer, so you should have that common sense. So we are going to write a function that is going to return an integer value, so int. So it is same as the data type in the variables. That is why I was teaching, when I was teaching, I was asking you to have a look on the data type also, variables also. So data type, name, you remember the variable concept, value, so no, defining and declaring the variable. So the return type must be a data type, obviously, because a data is supposed to be returned, right? So if you don't understand, just don't worry, just remember return type should be a data type, integer or string or something. You are going to return a data anyway, right? So let's say I'm going to return a number, so I'm writing int, because number shall be an int if it's an integer number. Then I will say adder, because we are going to add two numbers and return the value. I'm not doing anything, I'm writing the function the same way, because function return type and the function name, and what is it? Two curly brackets. Okay, so what is an adder? So let's say this is going to add two numbers. Okay, so I will write a variable inside the function. It is not must. Okay, let's say int. Okay, x. Okay, I'm going to add number 10 plus 5. 10 plus 5. So we all know it is 15. And then I will return x, the results value. Okay, because I already said a function that is not void. Okay, a function with a valid return type should have a return statement. Okay, So what you should write is you have write a return statement. Okay, so what is a return statement? Very simple, two words, return, and what you want to return? I want to return number x. Yes or no? Yes, x. Okay, return x. So you see x is what? 10 plus 5, 15. So x is so 15 will fall under which data category? Obviously integer. So that is why from your common sense you have to mention the return type now. So to mention the return type, you should know what is the two numbers 10 plus 5 and it is going to return the results. So what is the results? 15. It is going to return 15. Then you come here and see. So now what is the data type? Return type. 15 is what type? 15 is what data type? That is the return type. So return type is the data type, okay, of the return value. Data type of the return value. Understood? So maybe I will. Okay, return type is returning value type. So what is return type? This one is the data type of the return value. What is the return value? X. What is x? Number 15. So what is number 15? Which data type is number 15? Number 15 is an integer. Okay, obviously integer. Okay, so you have to say integer. Okay. So if let's say your thingy, okay, is going to add 10 plus 5.5. So now what is the case? The resulting return value will be 15.5. So 15.5, okay, will not be an integer. So data type of the return value. So what is the data type of the return value? It is a float because point value is there. Alright, so it's a float. You understand, guys? So like that you gotta do things. So let's say so here also I have to change it as a float because I am returning the x, so I have to say it float. You understand that, right? It's very easy. I have to say float because 10 plus 5, 15.5 should be a float. So what you can see here also and decide. So x, what is x? It's a float only. You can return the x. So the return type should be float. Understood? So I will keep the int anyway. So I will change the return type to be int. So just I think this is enough for the moment. So what you can do with this is you can call the function here, right? So adder. Okay. So the problem here is this function is returning a value. Okay, this function itself is returning a value. So what is the value of the function return? 15.5. Sorry, 15 now, right? So here I have to change it to 15. 5. I'm sorry, because it is integer, right? So 15. So the function is going to be an integer value, that is 15. So if I am calling this function, so return type value function, there's no point of just calling it because it's not doing anything, it's not printing anything, it's not giving a digital output, it is just adding the number and returning. So what I am supposed to do is I am taking the return value and I have to do something with that. So for the moment what I will do is I will take the return value of the adder and I will serial print the value. Okay, so I will say int x, or let's say int y, let's say is equal to adder. So this part is very important. See guys, this function is returning some value. So I want to hold the value in a variable. Inside where? Inside my void loop. I'm sorry, it should be void loop, guys. So I'm making mistakes, I'm sorry. It should be void loop. Right. Okay. So I will replace it with the void setup. Yeah, void setup. Okay. So void setup, void loop. So here whatever you want to write, you can write like serial println or something, serial begin or something. So here what I will do is I will write serial. See what I am doing. Just focus on what I am doing. Serial dot begin. Sorry, serial dot println. Okay, guys. Bye. Okay. You understand? So what is the meaning of it is, first we will implement the adder function. So what is adder function? It will add 10 plus 5 and return 15. So since this is returning a value, this function itself is returning a value, integer value, because see, the function itself is an integer. What is integer? 15. So I have to assign it to a variable here. So it's very simple, right? I create a variable name, variable data type, name, and using an equal sign, I am assigning the function value to a variable. And then I have the return value in my local variable of the void loop, y. Then I serial print the y. So you will see 15 is continuously being serial printed because void loop is repeating. Okay, it's very easy. So inside the void setup also you can write. So you should write serial.begin, right? So this is something very important. What is smart engine business? Okay guys, so here today I urge you to rewatch the video since if you have any confusion. So today, so you can take this piece of code and try, and you will see it is working. You can take a picture and retype it or whatever you want you can do. So today we have studied two main things. So about return type function, okay, one is what? One is use of return statement. So every return type function should have a return statement that should return a particular value. So actually three things. So then the return type should be compatible with that return statement value. So what is the value being returned? Okay, so this value should this value should be compatible with this return type, or we can say the return type should be compatible with the returned value, the same data type. It should be the same data type. Okay, so or we can say it should be the data type in which the return value falls under. Okay, and the third thing is always it is better, let's use the word better. Okay, it's better to assign the return value to a variable, local variable of the void loop. Assign the return value to variable of void loop, or some variable, anything, some variable that is accessible outside. Okay, because this x cannot be accessible outside, right? Outside of this function, because it is index is written inside the declaration is written inside the what you call function itself. So it's a local variable, you can only use within that function, right? So if you want to assign it to another variable, you have to either mention a variable here and assign immediately, otherwise you can use a global variable here. Yes or no? You can say int y and you can assign y is equal to adder. So you know those things, right? Because I have taught those things enough. So I think we have studied all these three important things, and these are very, very important. I am not going to repeat them again and again. So the function is also very important. So just rewatch this video again and again if you don't understand, and if you have any questions, please do ask me, and try the code except these statements. Line number 22 to 24 you can ignore, and try the rest of the code, and you will see it is working. Okay, so guys, I'll catch you up in the next video. Until then, have a great day ahead. Bye, and consider subscribing us.